How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Conti and Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The first time they go offense, they take Jordan Love? They take Jordan Love!
Listen, Matisse Thybulle will lock up
Matisse
CP3.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul.
Oh my god.
Chris Paul, baby. Right, Will?
Nope, I totally disagree. Look. Welcome back, everyone, to Conti and Nick. I'm Nicholson. Nicholson, as always, I have with me Gino Conti. And, man, it's number 40. We talked about this a little bit before the show started, but it's not 50. We're getting there, but it is 40, which is
50th episode. We're going to have something crazy.
We don't know what yet.
We don't know what. That's 10 weeks in the making, okay? Yeah. But definitely for sure episode 50 is going to be insane. We're going to do something really special, real crazy. We don't know what yet. But damn, 40 still feels good, man. I mean, we've, like I said, we've taken some like breaks in between. Okay, we've taken like whatever. We'll
Most
take
of
like
it hasn't even been our fault.
Yeah, it hasn't been. It's been like because of other circumstances. Yeah, stupid Will got COVID.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Hey, my bad. I'll take the heat on that one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's crazy. I threw out some statistics one night too. It was just like I don't even remember what they were, but I know we were looking at numbers. Like podcasts that like take it seriously, like 90% don't make it past like 10 episodes or whatever.
That's nuts. And we've quadrupled that.
We've quadrupled that. Like obviously, yeah, you have like Joe Rogan and like Two Bears, One Cave. The Yard, Through the Wire, a couple of my favorite podcasts.
Those are good warm-ups after, before you listen to us.
Exactly.
You know? Those are good
but
warm-ups.
Like podcasts like that, obviously they're gonna be in like the hundreds and like the thousands if you're Joe Rogan. But dude, like podcasts that seriously like, are like, okay, like we're doing this every week. I mean, we've been doing this for a year. We've had 40 episodes. Podcasts go for a year and are lucky to break 10 episodes. I mean, for example, my own other podcast, Obnoxious. We hit 10 episodes in like 2 years. Like,
it's whatever, man.
I
do like Obnoxious.
It is a little bit different though. It's for sure different. Like, we can't just sit down and do Obnoxious. Like, it needs to be thoroughly planned out, and like we have to have a plan for it. But no, this is crazy. We're happy to be here, and we're back at Bridgewater again.
Yeah, it's
classic.
It's cool. So real quick, I wanted to before we actually start. I didn't say anything to you, Will, because I wanted to get your live reaction and for it to be recorded and have throughout the whole history of time.
Oh, God.
Look at my phone and see if you notice anything.
No! No!
Yeah.
Can I make the announcement?
Do it!
Ladies and gentlemen, Gino Conti has just showed me his phone. He has gotten a Twitter. Let's just...
You ready?
We got him.
You ready?
We got him.
You ready?
Yep. No! What do you mean? Why are you deleting it? I was so happy!
I no longer have a Twitter!
I was so happy. I just got 30 seconds of pure joy and pure happiness, and I'm never getting over that.
Alright, before we get into
the Lakers!
Before we get into the main topic, Will, you agree Serena Williams is a great tennis player, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's all I needed. Well, a good friend of mine said she would not follow us on Instagram if we did not talk about women's sports.
Oh, yeah.
Did we not just talk about women's sports?
We did just talk about women's sports.
Drop a follow. Brittany Green, right now, drop a follow.
Drop a follow.
Drop a follow right now.
You
owe me. I stayed true to my word. I promised you we would.
Love Serena Williams.
Yeah. Great tennis player, right?
Do you remember when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings and there was some question about the Williams and shout out Camden. He's just like, it was a question. It was like, oh, is the statistic with Venus Williams, Serena Williams, or both?
And you could have picked 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
No, it was like 3 different tennis people.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was like Serena and Venus, and then like another that we just don't know. Yeah, and then we were just like, no, it's Venus. Cam, it's Venus. It's Venus.
Venus is trash.
Yeah, no, like they're both very good. Serena's better, but Venus, like, it's very good.
It is wild.
So Brittany Green,
also,
there you go.
Women's sports, he sees someone from, I'm going to make up a school, like TCU or something. Some women basketball player scored like 60 in a game.
Really?
It was crazy.
Nice.
It was insane.
Good for her.
She was literally Baby Shaq. It was like, oh, you would have loved it. It was actually like 60 points, all of them in the paint.
Really?
All of them in the paint.
I may have to be a WNBA fan now.
And just like that. All right, main topic. We've rambled for enough.
The offensive line.
The offensive line. So the Lakers obviously are struggling massively. I'm gonna check their record real quick, but I know it's not good.
They're ninth right now in the West.
That's
kind of what you need to know.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. It's not good for the Lakers. Gino Conti, I want to know. I mean, from you, what's the deal? Like, what happened? with the Lakers?
So real quick before we go into like the what happened, because I think we all know the answer. Okay, but anyways, ninth place in the Western Conference. If the NBA didn't like cater to being soft, okay, if the NBA didn't praise mediocrity by bringing in the play-in tournament and just allowing teams who, wouldn't make the playoffs originally to, possibly make the playoffs, which is a problem in and of itself. It's called the pussification of America. Okay.
I'm with you. I hate the play-in tournament.
Yeah, of course.
I think
yeah.
it's dumb.
No,
I
no,
think it was
and,
good for COVID. It's awful.
Yeah, and I know you're with me on that, but I mean, it's still something that has to be addressed.
Fair.
So if the season were to end right now,
I don't actually think it's for that reason. You know what it's really for?
Jundra!
Also for John Brown. No, it's for that sweet cha-ching cash.
Well,
the
I mean,
the
that's
NBA
obvious.
gets a whole nother couple of games of play in quotes playoff revenue.
And yeah, like that's something
ridiculous.
that's something that I'm obviously not mentioning because that is kind of obvious. Okay, but I'm not but you're absolutely right. So obviously, I mean, the league is catering to mediocrity. I mean, we're promoting laziness, we're promoting stupid play, and taking more days off due to rest or whatever the hell there's like protocol. I'm sorry, I can't even think of it right now. But it's so stupid. So just for reference, if the old style were in play or the old way, then if the Lakers wouldn't be in the playoffs right now, and to me that's crazy. They're in the 9th seed in the West. Yeah, that's like they're fighting for their playoff lives. They could sneak into the 8th, but even then, this is a team with, on paper, I'm saying, LeBron, you're welcome. LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook. Okay, and I know there are multiple variables to that big three that we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you look at this team on paper, and you're like, how the hell are they at least not a top 5? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, how are they not a top 5? I mean, what do you think about that?
Look, here's my thing with the Lakers. I got a couple of reasons as to, what is going on specifically with them. Sorry, you just heard a YouTube video go off in the background. My mistake. I'm trying to pull up some stats for something because we're going to talk about it later. That wasn't something I saw. The biggest culprit for the Lakers is not Russell Westbrook. In my opinion, it is not Russell Westbrook. It's not LeBron James. And it's not Frank Vogel, as much as I hate to say, because I don't think he's a great coach. He's not bad, but he's decent. The number one culprit for why the Lakers are struggling, in my opinion, is Anthony Davis. This man cannot stay on the court, and when he's on the court, he hasn't been amazing. This is someone who the Lakers gave up a ridiculous amount to get. They gave up, Lonzo Ball, who, isn't the second overall pick that we expected. He's not a bad player, though.
He's a solid and above average player on this hot days.
They gave up Kyle Kuzma, who, granted, isn't also the best. Kuzma's solid, though. Kuzma's doing his thing in Washington.
So your prediction when we made the season predictions is actually better than mine for most improved player? Or was it most improved?
Kuz, yeah.
I always get, I know it was Kuz, but I always get NFL and NBA confused because comeback and most improved.
Yeah.
But the NBA is most improved. So I predicted Keldon Johnson from the Spurs. You predicted Kuz. So I don't know if Kuzma's going to win it, but your prediction so far is a lot better than mine.
Yeah.
So I will say that.
And those awards are ridiculous to pick. No one has ever picked the MIP except maybe I think Oladipo.
Some random ass dude, you know
exactly.
what I mean? Some guy from Kentucky, who some fat slob eating salami off his stomach from Kentucky.
No, it's always something like that. But Anthony Davis was given up for all this for Kuzma,
and Brandon Ingram,
who was
an all-star,
and just a bunch of future first-round picks. And this guy is shooting terribly from 3, awfully. The whole thing with Anthony Davis is, he can stretch the floor, he can shoot the 3, and he can bang down low. He's shooting, I forget the exact number, but he's not in the 30s, that's for sure. He's in the 20s, I think, now for shooting from 3, and that is just horrible. It's just...
If I'm not wrong, awful. I believe he's only played 23 games this season.
That too.
So the one thing I will say, I know what you're trying to say, Will, but you got to think about when the NBA season first begins, these players, obviously, they don't come... there are some people who start off really hot and then kind of fizzle out. Yeah. But I would say, for the most part, the superstars kind of play at a little bit more than an all-star, but not an MVP range.
Yes.
That's kind of how they start out, okay? Yes. So they're all right, and then towards the end, the season end, the stretch, then they really play like their MVP selves. They kind of have to warm themselves up, get conditioned again to the NBA season. But let's not forget, 23 points a game is still pretty damn good. Okay,
good,
yeah, 23 points a game, especially and from Anthony Davis, who's usually in actually that 25 to 27 range. After 23 games, if he were to stay healthy the full year, he'd get back to that MVP level player. And he can't control.
He can't stay on the court though.
Well, he can't control his body.
That's fair.
So
I
don't put any blame on him for him because injuries are such a sporadic thing. You know what I mean?
True.
So I don't.
But it's not like an injury where it's all of a sudden where everyone's like, oh, like get well, AD. You know what I mean? He's Anthony Data Davis. That's what he is.
I've seen that, and that's funny.
He is Anthony Data Davis. He's always a day-to-day. And look, I'm not saying that his injuries aren't real. You know, I'm not going to accuse him of that or anything like that. But I'm just saying he can't stay on the court, and it's a problem. I'm not saying it's his fault, but it kind of is. You know what I mean? He needs to be on the court for his team.
I mean, there's really nothing he can do.
That's fair. No, I get it's tough to say that it's his fault. When like really it isn't, but like isn't it? And I don't know, but it's the reality of it that
the reality is he can't stay healthy.
A liability by not being on the court.
Yeah, and the best ability is availability. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not here trying to tell you that. I'm not here making a case that, oh my god, what do you mean he's injury prone? Because like he absolutely is.
I've seen everyone like try and flame LeBron and try and flame Westbrook.
I can flame LeBron.
No, I know, but Westbrook deserves.
And anyone should be flaming LeBron.
I disagree. For this year, no. For this team, I think my second culprit for why this team is awful, management. Management did not put together a good team. They did not. They didn't put together a good team. I thought they were going to be a good team. They are not. I'll admit I was wrong. I thought this team was going to be good. I will say in part, I thought that Westbrook was going to, give me a little bit more. And I thought Anthony Davis was going to give me more, too.
Do you remember we made a whole episode almost about this? About Kawhi and Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
Dude, it's not management. Well, it sort of is management's fault. I'll get into it. I agree that it's management, but for a different reason that you're saying.
That's fair.
You're strictly saying that management did not make a good enough team. Okay, but who does... Let's be real. There's Rod Pelinka. There's Jeannie Buss. Yes. Okay, who really makes a decision?
Oh, it
decisions?
was LeBron. It was absolutely LeBron.
Okay, so
here's my thing, right? When we talk about management, they also let this happen. You know what I mean? They let this team get formed, and also they're trying to scapegoat that. You know what I mean? And this happens with LeBron teams, and I hate that this happens on LeBron teams. That's one of the things I actually dislike about teams that have LeBron is people get scapegoated. It was J.R. Smith, it was Lance Stevenson, it was JaVale McGee. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just guys like that, and they're trying to do it to Russell Westbrook. They're trying to go, oh, well, Russell Westbrook is just bad, and we didn't think he was going to be bad. Russell Westbrook has not. You know exactly what Russell Westbrook is. He's not efficient. He puts up fantastic numbers. And he's not a good shooter. Russell Westbrook is still a phenomenal NBA player. He deserves to be on that top 75 list. He's a great player. While he isn't his MVP form, Russell Westbrook is still a serviceable player, not for the money that he's getting paid right now. I'll say that. But Westbrook is not the main reason that this team is falling apart. And the fact that they were trying to trade him at the deadline because, oh, Westbrook is bad. That's awful. That's awful, and it's awful that management gets to hide in the background and hide in the shadow and just throw Russell Westbrook as a scapegoat. And you know me, I'm not a big Russell Westbrook fan.
Neither am I, but I think he's an all-time talent.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Personally, yeah, but
absolutely. And I've gotten on Westbrook. He's inefficient. He puts up pretty numbers. He doesn't win. While some of that still has truth, he's not the reason that they're losing. And they're trying to make it seem like, oh, he has ugly shots. I mean, he's had ugly shots since his rookie year.
Because everything, anything and everything is going to be an effort to not blame LeBron.
Absolutely.
And that's to say, this is why one of the very, very, very many reasons I dislike LeBron James, okay? But, fair. I mean, I have my own reasons, but, we won't get into it. But anyways, so I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, Will, when you say that it's management's fault for allowing LeBron James to have so much influence on this roster. Okay, but here's the thing.
I need to know how the Russell Westbrook decision was made, man.
So
I need to know who was a part of that.
LeBron.
But is it, though? I don't know.
LeBron has final say of everyone who's on that roster.
He does to an extent.
No, is. LeBron is the general manager.
That's right.
Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this to you, don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted, folks. LeBron James, any team he goes to, besides Miami, okay, because Pat Riley is his own man, okay, and I believe that's why LeBron had his best years in Miami.
He benefited though from Pat Riley in a way, because Pat Riley, like, while he wasn't like, oh, I want this, I want that, Pat Riley also played to LeBron's strength.
So
he put, I'm gonna get it so wrong, Miller.
Mike Miller.
I did not want to say Mac Miller. That's all I could say.
Mac Jones.
No, for real. No, he had Mike Miller. He put around,
Shane
Battier,
Danny Granger at one point.
Danny Granger, and he got Sean Marion, and then he got like Ray Allen in the 2013 season, I believe.
Don't forget. So I know he's not a shooter, but don't forget about Caveman or Birdman.
Of course, can't forget about Birdman. But he played to LeBron's strength. That's LeBron James. You put shooting around LeBron. You can't double team him because he spreads the floor and he gets to the corners. So Pat Riley did do that, but I don't, and I didn't understand the Russell Westbrook thing from the beginning, but I thought it was going to work. I'll say that I thought it was going to work, and my reasoning for that was I thought that, you know, Westbrook was going to step it up more, because this is what my thing was. You have LeBron up on this level, right? You have him as far as production goes. Then you have Davis like around the same, a little bit less. And then you have Westbrook. I was expecting Westbrook to go from here and take a lot of that production, and LeBron to dip down to the middle.
So you're saying that LeBron would be an A++, AD's an A+, and then you think Russ is probably like an A to an A-.
Yes.
That's what you thought like originally, like when the season went out.
Well, I thought that LeBron was going to drop his production down. I thought LeBron was going to, because you know LeBron likes to take nights off. It's just how it is. So I thought nights like that, Westbrook would have his nights where he takes over, he gets the crazy triple-double, and just stuff that he would normally do.
That doesn't mean, so here's the thing, like, I know what you're trying to say, Will, but like, that doesn't mean that LeBron isn't ball dominant. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
That doesn't mean that he wouldn't hold the ball for, about 17 seconds.
How LeBron was with Kyrie? I thought it was going to be like that, to an extent.
I mean, so
where LeBron, okay, is still, he's the alpha. You have this other guy who takes up so much attention too that they coexist. Is how I thought it was going to work. I was very wrong.
Before we get into the on the court stuff, Will, I kind of want to wrap up like the management conversation that we're having, because let me tell you, rest assured, there is no way in hell that every single personnel in terms of on the floor decisions isn't made by LeBron James, or at least isn't brought to LeBron James and then he confirms it and he he denies it. You know, like there is no way. Like LeBron James is the general manager. Like somebody may have the title, okay, but LeBron James makes all the personnel decisions in terms of on the court, and the coach, okay, and the coach. That is all made by LeBron James. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the only time where it wasn't that case, or that wasn't the case, is when, ironically, he had his best seasons on the floor. Right? Yep. So when Pat Riley was like, no, I'm in charge here. You sit your ass down and you just worry about being a basketball player, because that's what you are, a basketball player and not the general manager. He had his best seasons on the court. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, so here's the thing. Like LeBron James is to blame for this roster. Okay, like how is LeBron? He
still played well though. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying LeBron James doesn't play well
individually.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying anything about his on the court performance. It's off the court. I mean, listen. How do we all see LeBron as his basketball savant? Okay, but then at the same token, he gets a guy in Russell Westbrook who we know is extremely ball dominant. Yeah. Okay, extremely ball dominant, like to the point where teams kind of turn away from him after a little bit. Phenomenal numbers, but we all know he's stat pads.
I hate the Westbrook slander so much. And look, I'm not a big Westbrook guy, but I have some statistic pulled up on the screen right now. This is what I was looking for earlier. Russell Westbrook, when he his overall percentage throughout, I think this was from when he started the triple-double saga. Yeah. I guess he's a 57% winning percentage, right? Now, when he scores, and everyone's like, he's the triple-double king, he's triple-double, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, oh, but all he does is stat pad, stuff like that. Well, I do think he goes for some stats like the rebounds. When Russ puts up a triple-double, that number goes from 57 to 71. That is a high uptick. And again, I'm not a big Russell Westbrook guy, but the fact that people are trying to scapegoat Russell Westbrook and be like, oh, well, they're not playing good because of Westbrook. Like, no, who did you think you were getting? Genuinely, who did they think they were getting?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm here questioning the smarts of LeBron James.
Sure.
Okay, that's why, because we all know LeBron James is also, like, yes, he gets assists and he's a better facilitator, and then he's not as much of a, I'm not here calling him a ball hog,
Yeah.
but he takes the ball up the floor
sure.
almost every possession, right? So when a guy like Russell Westbrook comes in, who also does the same thing, but, like, turned up to 1,000, do you know what I mean? Like, he's a ball-dominant player on steroids. That's what Russell Westbrook is.
Oh, yeah.
When LeBron James is, like, the floor general, pretty much of the league, I'd say, besides Chris Paul, okay, like, what did he think was going to happen? Like, Russell Westbrook is not capable of being an off-ball guard. He has to be ball-dominant. Okay, like, how is it me and you are sitting down here and we know this? Okay, but how come the so-called basketball genius, basketball savant, LeBron James doesn't? Exactly, you said it perfectly.
Right.
What did you think you were getting?
Yeah,
you know, so
I don't know what they thought that they were getting,
and,
but
sorry,
I thought they were gonna make it work, and I explained my reason why I thought Westbrook would tick his production up from what it was, because he wasn't really doing anything well in Washington. But
I think he was pretty good in Washington.
Yeah, he was okay, but it didn't lead to wins.
Oh no, I agree.
So
yeah,
I
but
wanted
think,
those numbers to lead to wins.
No, I know what you're saying. And I agree.
But I don't know. When you look back, I mean, that Buddy Hield trade's looking good, right?
That's what I'm saying. So
that Buddy Hield
if
trade,
you remember, the Lakers almost got Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
That trade got canceled, and then they got Russ. And the second I saw they got Buddy Hield, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, this is a great move, because you get like a sharpshooter. Okay, but he's like a better.
Who was the pick that they traded? It was up there, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember specifically.
Quick Google search,
but then when I saw Russell Westbrook, I'm like, man. I'm like, what are you doing? Go back to episode 15 of Conti and Nick. I believe that was like the second or like the third. I think it was either before we got on the bench or like during the bench. Okay, or the very early stages. I remember I was saying, I was questioning. I don't know if this is gonna work, man. I go because he's just so well done, and this isn't me trying to be like, oh, Conti was right. You know what I mean? Because I think that this is not like an out of the blue statement to make or like such a hot take. Because yeah, on paper you see this team and you're like, oh my god, like how does this team not succeed? You know, but then
I can see why it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And then you take into account the styles, okay, and again, not his fault, but the injury history of Anthony Davis, and then like, listen, in terms of on the court, he's not really showing that many signs at all of slowing down. But LeBron James is 37 years old, so like, let's not forget. And then look at the surrounding cast. Okay, like that's one thing. So Will, I want to get your take on the surrounding cast as well, because I have some things to say about it, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
It's awful. It's not good. Carmelo Anthony was not the answer. I looked it up, by the way. So the Wizards gave up Westbrook, a second-round pick in 2024, and a 2028 second-round pick.
Oh, that's right. We were just talking about that trade.
The Lakers gave up Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and the number 22, who I forget. We're going to look it up real quick.
Pick for Washington. 2022 NBA
draft, right?
No, NBA draft.
Oh, okay. NFL. Jeez. Wait.
NBA. Stalling. No, this is the mock draft for this year.
Wait, is it?
Yes.
We'll find it in a minute. But
here, ready? We'll talk. I'll do this.
All right. So the surrounding cast with the Lakers, I mean, it's just not good. Melo isn't the answer. I didn't think Melo was gonna work here, and I was right.
Here's the thing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
it was Isaiah Jackson. It says Isaiah Jackson, and he was traded to the Pacers for Aaron Holiday.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So we got that.
Yeah.
Google is hard, but no, the surrounding cast isn't good. They're gonna overpay for like THT to stay probably, but what do the Lakers do? I mean, LeBron's not a free agent this year. Where does he go? So what does he do? Like, he can't get out.
So here's the thing that I have so many gripes about with the way the Lakers constructed their roster in the offseason, okay? Like, Trevor Ariza, DeAndre Jordan, I love Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony, okay, they got there's someone Avery Bradley. I mean, at this point, he's an aging veteran as well.
He's not even a starting level guy anymore.
No, he's not. Okay, he's not.
It's like bottom of the rotation.
Yeah, and then obviously LeBron himself is 37. I think they got Wayne Ellington as well, who is also up there in age. Okay, like, what exactly? Dwight Howard, they brought him back. Kent Bazemore.
I pulled up the cap hit.
Exactly.
Man.
Kent Bazemore.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kendrick Nunn. Like, look at all this cap hit, dude.
Cap.
No, but like, look at all Stanley Johnson, Austin Reeves, sure, Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore. All right, so you're DeAndre Jordan, the minimum, fine. You know, you got
Dwight Howard.
You still have to pay Russell Westbrook what? $91 million
Guaranteed.
That's insane.
Yeah, but
that's absurd.
So here's the thing, like guys like, can you keep that up for a second?
Yes.
Guys like Ariza, Carmelo, Avery Bradley, Wayne Ellington, Howard, Jordan, Bazemore, all those guys are good on playoff teams when they're spread around the roster.
Yes.
Okay, having a guy like Carmelo come off the bench, okay, perfect.
Sure,
okay,
serviceable.
perfect. That's exactly what a playoff or a championship contending team needs. Okay, guys like Kent Bazemore, I could say the same thing. Wayne Ellington, I'd say to a lesser degree. Yeah. And then Dwight Howard actually is a pretty solid contributor still.
Yeah,
okay,
I think so.
Yeah, for what he is, Dwight Howard is still pretty good. But DeAndre Jordan, he's done. Okay, DeAndre Jordan's done. Okay.
We've known this.
Yeah, we've known that for a little bit. Dude, and what I'm telling you is, how does LeBron not know that these are guys who cannot have sustained success at their highest level throughout an entire season?
Yeah.
I said this. I said that they were probably going to end up being the 7 or 8, now they're at 9th seed. Okay, because the veterans are going to be doing load management. They're not going to be trying their hardest or playing their best. And then they're going to end up being screwed.
Young guys.
Exactly. They're going to end up being screwed because then they have to face guys like Phoenix, Denver, Utah, guys who are fresh young legs to end the playoffs. Okay,
it's not like this is a cruise year too. It's not like, oh yeah, well all these guys are gonna hit the market and be free agents, and the Lakers can rebuild and sign someone with money. They don't. I have the tax pulled up right now. So their current luxury tax space is minus 19 million.
Yeah,
they're 19 million, but in the NBA,
and they're still paying
in the NBA.
They're still paying Luol Deng too.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. So their estaminated luxury tax bill could be 43 million. That's like a year of LeBron.
Yeah,
like they have no money in free agency, and just talk about the people that they're still paying. Dead cap, Luol Deng, Stanley Johnson,
Darren Collison,
IT, Stanley Johnson 3 times. They have him on a cap
and
figure.
Jamario Jones, Jamario Jones.
That's dead cap. I mean, look at the people they're still paying.
And to my point, Darren Collison came out of retirement to play for them.
Yeah,
that even furthers my point.
It's awful.
I don't.
They still have to pay Kendrick Nunn $10 million.
Kendrick Nunn is on.
He's going to be a free agent. Who's going to be a free agent also? AD is coming up on it. Yeah. And so AD's got to get paid.
Yeah.
So what do you do? This is worse than like the Packers cap situation. And they're in the
Saints.
And they're in the NFL. And money in the NFL, if you don't know, isn't real. Nothing's ever guaranteed. The money in the NFL is fake. The Packers, it's bad though. The Saints, who are minus 75 million under the cap, actually have a game plan for how they're going to get out of it. The Packers don't. That's a
different story for a different day.
Exactly. But the Lakers are minus 19 million in the cap. In the NBA, all that money is guaranteed.
Yep.
They're minus 19 in the cap in the NBA. That's ridiculous to me. So it's going to be tough.
So to me though, like all this cap, like I said, like you obviously knew that you were gonna limp your way into the playoffs, and that they might not even make it. Okay, if they don't get into the 8th seed, okay, like they might not make it, and they might not like make it to the actual playoffs because they could lose in the play-in. Okay, so and if they do, I predict they get lost and they lose and they get blown out in the first round
again. Would not surprise me.
Like they did with Phoenix.
Would not surprise me.
Okay, so I don't understand. How do we label, if everything goes through LeBron James and we all label LeBron James as a savant, how do we not blame him for this? How do we not discredit his knowledge and his intelligence of at least being able to put together a roster? This is the first time that
I feel like something like this has happened, though. When LeBron's wanted someone, I feel like it's worked.
The first half with Cleveland, when he brought in Wade, Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, IT, that was another case.
To an extent, that worked a little bit. And then they blew it back up. And that new team was, they made the finals.
And that was to my next point. How did LeBron not realize that had to be done yet again? How did LeBron not realize that he had to get, if they didn't get anything for trade, because I guarantee most of the guys would probably go for maybe a first round pick.
Did you see they tried to play trade Westbrook at the cap, and do you know why
With
they
John
couldn't
Wall.
get him? No, but do you know why teams wouldn't move for Westbrook?
Because they didn't want
They
him.
don't want him, and if they want to take the Westbrook cap hit, they wanted a first-round pick. The Lakers do not have any first-round picks that they are able to give because they're all in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, and just New Orleans. So they have to wait until this summer for their, I think, 2027 first-round pick.
Ugh.
So then they trade that along with the. So isn't that insane?
It's
you have
awful.
Russell Westbrook, who is getting all this money, and teams don't want him. They say, okay, yeah, we'll take the dead cap, or we'll take that cap
If
hit,
you give us a first.
but we need a first. That is first of all, whoever gets that is going to make a wild deal. And it's gonna be a win for them because it's gonna be some garbage franchise. It's gonna be like Detroit. It's gonna be like Detroit or something.
No, because then they would take away from Cade Cunningham.
Yeah,
and
never mind.
and the actual young studs that
Yes.
not studs, but the actual pretty good young
Well, let me
players that
say,
they're
who
moving.
off the top of your head do you think overpays for Russell Westbrook?
Honestly, the Thunder.
Yeah.
The Thunder.
Honestly though, like they have that treasure chest of. Like, you know what? That's not a bad idea because they have this treasure chest of first round draft picks. Okay, yeah, we'll give you one. They'll make it like protected or something, or give us another first rounder. We'll take Westbrook. We'll take the cap hit, and he can just finish his career with the Thunder. Boom. But I mean, it's still.
But even
ridiculous.
then, they're taking
It's
shit from
ridiculous.
from Shea Gilgeous and Josh Giddey, who has outperformed a lot of people's expectations right out the
Our
gate.
expected. Actually, you know what? We were pretty high on Josh Giddey.
So yeah, we both liked him, but we thought that he would need a decent amount of time to develop.
I thought
He's
so.
actually been pretty damn good.
He's been hooping.
He's
His
been pretty
TikToks
good.
are hilarious.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen them.
I have not. I have not.
You know that sound with Drake where it's like, "Bring me a shot." That one.
No,
You never heard- it's
I'm not very trendy. I'm sorry.
He does all of that where it's like it's Drake after the word like, "What do you mean breathe? Hey yo, bring me a shot."
Yeah.
It's like that, but he's hilarious. So literally he posts them like right after the game too. They're fucking phenomenal. I love them. But yeah, so I brought up the teams in the worst cap coming into this offseason. Golden State, which we knew because Clay and Steph.
But
are
they
big.
don't. They don't care.
No,
Golden
they
State
don't care.
is open that they don't give a
Yeah,
shit about
so
going over the top.
if you're one of these teams, first of all, you're in Golden State, you're fine. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's gonna be fine, and also you need to be a winning team. This isn't bad. This is like Andrew Wiggins' contract, Steph Curry,
This is the year.
Klay Thompson. This is the apparently this was the year for Andrew Wiggins. But you got 3 big contracts there who are all contributing, and you have a bunch of young guys. Okay, so eventually they're gonna have to give up Wiggins, and then they pay Kuminga, and then they pay. Why am I forgetting his name? The
Jordan
center.
Poole?
No. They're gonna pay
Wiseman.
Jordan Poole, Wiseman. So people are gonna get paid in the Warriors, and look, but they're gonna be a good team. You know what I mean? So this isn't bad. The Nets, we know why that they're in cap hell. I'm not even gonna go over that. Clippers, we know. Timberwolves, you got what? Cat. You're gonna have to pay Anthony Edwards.
D'Angelo Russell
Yeah, so D'Angelo. So you have a lot of cap. They're projected
and
cap
Malik
at-
Beasley.
So you have a lot of players going to play fine, and then it's the Lakers who are like nowhere near the level. At least if you're the Timberwolves, at least you're young,
Yeah.
right? If you're 27th in cap, I mean, at least you're young. At least you have young talent, and they're paid. That's the thing. The Lakers have old guys. They're paid, and they need to get new players.
Yep.
And they're the next team at behind
At
the
25.
Bucks.
At 25.
Yeah, it goes the Bucks who championship team. Yeah.
So,
but like, look at some of these the teams who are you can see that are like this. Most of the time are good teams. Golden State, yeah. Brooklyn, yeah. Clippers, I mean, we know why they're not good. Timberwolves are decent. Bucks are good. 76ers are good. The Wizards are they're taking on a bunch of contracts right now. They're rebuilding for the future. You know that. The Raptors, the Jazz, the Mavericks, and like teams like that, and then you start to get into teams who are going to have a decent amount of cap. The Thunder are going to have 31 of the spending cap in this offseason, which is going to be absolutely crazy. Yeah, right. It's
Memphis too, and
Yeah,
they're a playoff
Memphis.
team, and they have the second most. Memphis is dangerous. Man.
They're only like that's a 2-way contract away from now you have spending money. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be an interesting offseason. I'm really interested now that I'm looking at it because probably these top 16, 17 was 18.
Like you're going.
No, realistically, like I started going down and I was like, oh yeah, Miami, okay, and Cleveland. And Chicago.
Yeah.
Realistically, the top 15 teams are going to be really fun to watch in free agency, except the Kings.
Yeah. Screw the Kings.
Everyone but the Kings are like, oh, look
The
at
Fox and the Ox.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Look at the cap we got rid of by not having to play Halliburton. Shut up.
Yeah, I know.
That was ridiculous.
And Halliburton's hooping in Indiana too already.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
Glad he's hooping.
So
Boneheaded
all this conversation here, I kind of want to circle back to something I said a couple minutes ago. How does this not demean your expectations or your no? The phone is ringing.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Will's phone is ringing. How does this not lessen your thoughts of LeBron James not in terms of an on the court player, but how do we not look at LeBron and be like, man, maybe he's not as smart as we thought he was, or maybe he's not meticulous as we thought. Okay, and I hate how when ESPN does these things of like how LeBron has like a memory. He's like, this guy made this back cut, and then I drove to the lane, he kicked it out, and then he did another banana cut or something like that.
I think he actually does have that type of memory.
You're telling me that 90% of the league couldn't do that as well?
I don't know.
90% of the league could also do that, Will, because they are in the same league LeBron is,
apparently,
the NBA,
look, I'm just going on from what I've heard.
And they just do it because LeBron's LeBron.
From what I've heard, LeBron actually does have a really good memory.
Okay, well, I'm sure.
And look, I don't know, and neither do you. That's the thing.
I'm sure lots of other people do.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't know, and neither do you, but from what and I'm going to go off of what I heard. You can disagree. From what I've heard, LeBron actually does have a good memory like that. And look, you got to put guys around LeBron that he wants to play. It's just simple. But you should have been like, wow, really, Westbrook? And also, if you're going to get Westbrook, where was the youth? Where was the youth around? And that's why Anthony Davis is my number one. He's going to stay there. He just can't stay healthy. It's a problem. Because he's supposed to be the young, okay, I'm this guy. He should be the number one on this team at this point. Anthony Davis should be the number one. If he's going to be a top 7, this is, okay, I don't want to get too much into the top 75 list because we both have our opinion on that. How is Anthony Davis on this list? Over Tracy McGrady?
I don't think he should have been.
How, also, Dame?
How is Alex English not on the list?
Okay, well now we're getting chippy.
Do you know who Alex English is?
I know he's an old man. I know he was a beast. I know he was a bucket.
He's a phenomenal scorer for the Denver Nuggets.
I know he was a bucket.
Yeah, he was an absolute walking bucket. A very underrated legend that not a lot of people talk about.
Sure.
Okay, and George Mikan should have been higher on that list too. Fair. He is literally the pioneer of this goddamn sport.
Fair.
He should have been higher than 28 on that.
Klay Thompson should have absolutely made it too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then how does Dwight Howard not make it?
Yeah, no, it's bad.
How does Dwight Howard not make it?
It's bad. And look, I know you have to get some of the young guys in there, but I question Sam Jones being in there.
I don't.
I question.
I don't.
I know he has 10 rings, but
pick and pop.
Come on,
dude, he was a pioneer of the pick and pop.
Okay, but there's guys who are super. Even some of the old guys that I know are super questionable on there.
Who?
Did you watch the draft?
You say Bob Pettit? Bob Pettit?
No, not Bob Pettit.
Absolutely, Bob Pettit deserves to be on there.
No, there's a couple of just like throwaways in there who it was.
Elvin Hayes?
Not Elvin Hayes, because Elvin Hayes is okay.
Elvin Hayes revolutionized the power forward position.
Sure. But I'll have to bring up the list. Did you watch the draft?
Dolph Skaves was pretty damn good too, man.
Dolph Skaves should not. That's one of them. He does not deserve to be there.
Why?
Over Dwight, man.
But okay, but then Dolph Skaves deserves to be on there. But then just replace AD with Dwight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, there's no reason Alex English shouldn't have been on there. Dolph Skaves is
there's
appropriate.
Tracy McGrady should have been on there over all of those guys.
I agree.
Klay Thompson should have been there over Dame. I mean, Dame.
Over Dame.
What has Dame done?
Dame is a better basketball player than Klay Thompson.
Incorrect. What has Dame done?
You think in terms of pure skill set that Klay Thompson's better than Dame?
I mean, if we're talking top 75 of all time, yes. I think all time.
I'm saying better, not greater, because there's a difference.
Okay.
On the court,
this is the greater. This is a greater list.
Okay, then Klay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we're talking better, then Damian Lillard, I believe, is better than Klay.
Dame is a bucket for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're Klay Thompson, you have 3 rings, and you're an absolute sniper, and you can guard. He deserves to be on this list 100%. And I'm gonna fight this. I'm taking that to the grave. Klay deserves to be on this list. I promise you, he does. But did you watch the draft on TNT? Remember the one they did with the All-Star one where Chuck went
Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I watched that thing 10 times over.
They did another one.
A whole other one?
Yes. There was a couple
the exact same thing for
yes.
Oh,
Jerry West was there.
No way.
I think Dwayne Wade was in it. I watched it last night. It was very, very good.
Was it better than... Because, dude, LeBron was taken in, like, the 3rd round of that thing.
Yeah.
LeBron had to have been taken, like, number 2 or something like that.
Dude, I don't want to spoil it for you,
Just say it.
Did LeBron
go number 1?
The first pick, no. It was Dominique Wilkins picking.
I thought you were saying Dominique got taken number 1.
It was Dominique Wilkins picking, and he picked himself.
Did he? That's awesome. That's awesome.
Dominique got the first overall pick, and he picked himself.
That's
first
great.
overall.
That's
and
great.
then Jerry West to Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Then they took Michael Jordan and then LeBron.
That's so funny because Michael Jordan, number 3 in his draft.
Yep.
Okay. Number 3 in the other one that they did, and then number 3 in this one. I don't get it. But anyway,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That
Super
Dominique
had
took
the best
himself.
team. I don't
That's
care what
funny.
anyone says. Super put together a squad.
Yeah, man.
They put together a squad.
So-
It was great, though.
So let me ask you something kind of as we're going back to LeBron here.
Yeah.
So I thought about this, and I've heard a lot of rumors, and LeBron has even said it himself. He said that
I'm
going
ready
back
for
to
this.
Cleveland is a possibility. I don't want to see LeBron back in Cleveland. I don't.
Where else would he go? You know?
I mean, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
You're like, good
but
question.
it's-
Don't care.
I don't care, and I don't know, and I don't care. Okay, I'm done with LeBron. He's dead to me. Okay, I don't like LeBron in the least bit. I hate him. Okay, but look at what Cleveland's building. That roster will get ruined. Right now, Cleveland is a fun, young, exciting team. LeBron goes in there. Those talents are going to be diminished because what they're going to do is they're just going to have to sit in the corner. And they're going to have to play LeBron style of basketball.
Yeah.
And what the hell is LeBron style of basketball doing with the Lakers? Not even making
It's not
it in the
good.
playoffs. Not making
good.
it in the playoffs.
It's for sure not good.
And that's what I'm saying. And JB Bickerstaff is a great coach.
it's-
He's doing a very good
awful.
job there. Okay, he'll probably get JB fired because that's not his guy.
No.
Okay, like I said, guys like Darius Garland will have to play a reduced role. He won't
He'll be
be
a corner. He'll try and make him into like Duncan Robinson.
That's
he,
what I'm saying.
He will.
So guys like Seti Osman will get less playing time. Okay, guys like Evan Mobley will be reduced to Chris Bosh. Jared Allen will be
that'd be great.
reduced to, I don't know, like JaVale McGee or like Dwight Howard. I mean, that's what's going to end up happening. And I'm
I
telling
agree with you, and I think I think that works with some teams. Like I think what he did in Cleveland was better, where he was like, okay, JR, stop.
Yeah.
you are shooting in the corner, and that is
Yeah.
it. Like that stuff like that works. But I agree, this would absolutely ruin this Cavs team
Mm-hmm.
if he went back. Have you seen that he's gonna go wherever Bronny gets drafted?
I saw that. Well, that's a little bit different, you know,
It's
but
interesting.
It-
man.
it is.
That interests me a lot because are you gonna have it? And it's gonna no.
imagine if Bronny gets drafted to Boston.
Dude, how awesome!
And then
would that
LeBron goes
be?
to Boston. First of all, I'd stop watching basketball, which I pretty much have already done. Okay, but anyways, LeBron on Boston, I mean, sickens me. Okay, if that would ever happen, it sickens me.
Would love it. I'm gonna manifest it right now. When does Bronny get drafted? 2024.
I don't know, and I don't care.
Either in 2024 or 2025, the Celtics will take Bronny with like the 15th pick or something stupid. It's
Yeah.
gonna be something like that because he's not up there.
Yeah.
Bronny is not a top prospect. So I'm telling you.
Oh, he magically will under LeBron.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like LeBron.
It's
like
already a miracle that
Yeah.
he's like scouted as much as he
Bronny
is.
will magically become what Zion Williamson of his class. And
No,
then-
it's-
even though
it's
I don't
gonna
like
be-
Zion anymore.
It's gonna
but-
be some apps. You know who it's gonna be? It's gonna be like the Kings. The Kings are gonna like trade for a top 5 pick. They're gonna move De'Aaron Fox to get Bronny and LeBron, and it's gonna be horrible.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be some garbage franchise that does it.
I hope so. So, and here's the thing, like, and like you said, and you brought up the question, and I said, I don't know, I don't care. So I'll ask you the same thing. I mean, where realistically does LeBron go if he's going to leave LA?
Well,
You know?
he's gonna go wherever Bronny goes. I mean,
Well, no. I'm saying, like, this upcoming season. Like, for the...
Oh, well, he doesn't have a
So
choice.
I'm
He's
saying...
still on contract.
I'm saying, well, he could request a trade.
That's
you
not
know,
gonna happen.
or he could demand a release, you know?
That's not gonna happen though.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think
doubt that's
I
gonna
don't think he'd be even bringing up or entertaining any discussion of him going back to Cleveland if he didn't have any intentions of leaving. Because if a reporter asked him,
Well, you know what they want? They want the Cavs to draft Bronny so he'll have an excuse to go to Cleveland.
that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing, like, if LeBron James really and truly was committed, so committed to the LA Lakers, he wouldn't have even entertained the thought of going anywhere, let alone saying it's a possibility of going back to Cleveland. To LeBron,
But he does this all the
I think
time,
LeBron's
man.
checked out.
He does
LeBron's
this all
checked
the
out of the
time.
Lakers. And one of something, it pissed me off when it was in the ceremony for the 75, how he was in the picture with the all-time great Lakers. LeBron James is not an all-time great Laker.
He's an all-time
okay?
great, and he was a Laker.
He's an all-time great, but he is not an all-time great Laker.
Okay.
Who else would have been there? Like, just not him.
Well, they had Jerry West.
They had everyone who won a
They
championship
had
with the Lakers.
Jerry West. They had Kareem, Magic, Shaq. I believe Big Game James was there.
Yes.
But if Elgin Baylor was alive, he'd still be
Yeah,
there.
the Lakers
if
greats.
Kobe was alive,
Yes.
he'd be there.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
Mikan was alive, he'd be there.
Yes.
Okay, like LeBron James
Understand.
does not belong
but
in
at least
the
LeBron
conversation.
won a ring with the Lakers in one fight. It's not like they had Steve Nash posing with the all-time great.
Well, yeah, that would have
Lakers.
pissed me. I love Steve. He's my favorite player ever.
Yeah.
But that would have pissed me off too.
But at least LeBron won a ring there. You know
He
what I
did,
mean?
but he's not an all-time great Laker. By no
Sure.
means is he. Like, when you think of Mount Rushmore, whoever puts LeBron on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great Lakers, unbelievably wrong, incorrect.
I can give you mine.
Well, it's horrible.
Ready? Kareem,
Yes.
Shaq, Magic, Kobe. I think that should be undisputed.
You could argue Wilt. So
Sure.
You could argue Wilt.
But Will
you could,
was more of a Sixer in my
You
mind.
could argue Jerry West.
Yeah.
You could argue Wilt. You could argue Jerry West. Okay, you could argue a lot of these players as well because you could argue so many people. That's how many great people have played for the Lakers.
Yeah,
Okay, it's insane.
a lot.
But anyways, like,
Celtics is pretty easy.
Man.
It's not hard.
who do you have?
Okay, so Bill
Bill
Russell,
Bird.
yeah, Bird, Pierce. And I guess the last one's kind of a throw up, right? I wanted to be Tatum.
You just said it was easy.
Well, no, it's like
oh.
it's easy to like throw.
Well,
a
then
guy.
you have Havlicek. You have
Nah.
Kuzi.
Nah,
What do you mean nah?
nah.
Havlicek, Kuzi. Why? What do you mean no? Why not?
I would make the last one KG. I think.
No.
You know what?
Not KG.
Maybe Havlicek.
It's not. Yeah, it would be Bird,
Okay.
Kuzi,
Yes.
Bird, Russell, and then I'd say Pierce.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'd put Pierce there.
It's
And
gonna be
then
Tatum.
It's not gonna be
It's
Tatum.
it's gonna be
not
Tatum.
gonna be Tatum.
It's gonna be
Okay,
Tatum.
you have to either think of Havlicek. You can think it's not Dave Cowens, but
Not Dave Cowens.
he deserves a mention. Okay, Robert Parrish, he deserves a mention. Don't forget
Sure.
about Casey Jones,
Yes.
Sam Jones. Okay, don't forget about never mind, not Bill Walton. But
I
don't,
was gonna say,
don't forget
no.
about Heinsohn. Don't forget about Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay, don't forget.
You know what? Tommy's my last one in there. Not even as a player, as a coach. As a coach, and yeah. You know what? That's
Well, if you're gonna do a coach, then do Red Auerbach. For sure.
yeah. No.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a coach, do Red
That's fair,
Auerbach.
that's
yeah. I mean,
as a coach, as an analyst,
So-
as a player, Tommy Heinsohn.
So kind of, I mean, the final questions that we have here. I mean, do you think less of LeBron James, Will?
No,
I mean, after
I
a season
don't.
like this.
Nah.
So why not?
Nah, I mean, look, it's just a bad year. I mean, LeBron's had a bunch of great years. This is not one of them.
I mean, look at the end of last year too. We kind of just gave up towards the end.
I
Wouldn't
don't
you
think
agree?
so. I mean, he had a game winner to make it, past the play and actually into the playoffs.
Whoop-de-doo. So he wouldn't have.
Sure, yeah, but-
Whoop-de-doo. So he had a game. He had a game winner in a game that decided whether or not he made the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is LeBron James, supposedly in some people's minds the greatest player of all time. Shouldn't that be kind of sad? Shouldn't that?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's kind of what LeBron's reduced to.
No.
We're now giving him credit for a game that decided whether or not he made or
But the
didn't
thing
make
is,
the playoffs.
he's still playing well.
He is.
He's putting up good numbers. He's playing good basketball.
He is, but this is what he's been reduced to.
He doesn't have the right pieces around.
Well, whose fault is that? His.
I mean, I think it's more of management.
Why? Well, management does whatever he says, and I agree that's management's fault. And I know what you're saying, but Rob Pelinka isn't pulling the strings. It's LeBron.
He is to an extent. Man.
No, he is not. It's
He is
all
to an
LeBron
extent.
James. It's all LeBron James.
I have the big picture here, by the way. If we want to keep doing the 75.
Oh,
Well,
see, bring it up.
yeah, we still got.
Don't
like,
forget
10
about. Oh yeah, Bill Sharman. Who's the other one? Hal
Here,
Greer.
I'll pull it
Hal
up.
Greer's another great one. So here's the thing.
I
Now,
was gonna say we pretty much did the Lakers.
don't forget about Bob McAdoo. Where's Paul
McAdoo.
Paul Arizin? Where the hell is he? Something a reason? Or a reason?
Nate Thurman does not deserve. To be
Nate
there. I'm
Thurman was a
sorry.
great player.
I know that he was good.
Jerry
at defending
Lucas was
Wilt
a
and
great
Kareem.
shooter. Jerry Lucas is awesome. I'm trying to look for him. I can't find him.
It's alphabetical order.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
He's gonna be
Something
right here.
a raisin or whatever. Lenny Wilkins was awesome. Another good player. Look at this, man. This is awesome.
Jerry Lucas.
Well, Jerry Lucas, but there's another one that I'm looking for here. I can't find him. Ah, damn. And Kawhi at 31 was awful too. It shouldn't have been. Dave DeBusschere was awesome.
No. How can you say Kawhi at 30 was up and be like, oh yeah, Dave DeBusschere deserved to make it?
No, I'm not saying that Kawhi didn't deserve to make it. He was just
Okay.
way too high, in my opinion. Oh, Paul Arizin, right there. Paul Arizin, a great Nick.
Who is Paul Reason? I don't even know.
I mean,
who that is.
he was one of the old players as well from the 50s.
Apollo-rism was legit, man.
There should only be so many people from the 50s that are allowed to.
There should only be so many people from current day.
Yeah, and there weren't enough.
Look at this, Paul-rism.
10-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 1-time champ, Rookie of the Year. Come on.
4-time All-NBA. Look at that.
Come on, man.
Look at that, 22 points a game.
I'm pulling up T-Mac.
Okay,
pulling
but
up Tracy
much
McGrady.
different. Much different era.
Like, come on, man. It's T-Mac.
No, look at that. No MVP, no champ, no ring, no nothing.
Okay, but T-Mac was better. Come on now. What is even T-Mac's career? He was what?
Paul-rism was 22 and T-Mac was 19. And most of T-Mac's career was very front heavy.
That is true, yes.
Front heavy. He bounced around and was a big time journeyman
This
towards the
guy
end.
served in the Marines.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy.
Respect.
Brother, that is crazy how stuff like that happened.
Respect,
in the 50s.
brother. Respect.
No, like, sorry, I didn't.
That's a man's
I didn't
man.
mean for that to sound degrading. That just shocks me.
That's a man's man.
I knew that players did that, but that's crazy.
That's a
But,
man's
you know
man.
what's funny? He scored 25. I think this is the year he won the MVP, right? Yeah,
1956.
So he won the MVP and then served in the Marines.
No, he won 1956. He won. So
Oh,
in
yeah, did I
1956.
read that wrong?
Yeah, so
No, that's all.
I'm sorry. NBA champ. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
So 56. So when was that? Yeah, so he has his career, almost his career high in scoring, serves in the Marines, and then 2 years later he wins a championship and wins or scores the most points that he did in his career.
He's awesome.
That's crazy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that.
He's a man's
T-Mac
he's a
deserves
man
to be
he's a
there.
man's man.
I think he deserves to be there, but if he deserves to be there, you can't tell me that Clay doesn't.
Well, do you think Clay wins without Steph? And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
I'm not trying to disrespect Clay in any way because I personally really like Clay, but without Steph
Probably
Curry,
not, but
Yeah.
I also don't think that Steph wins without Steve Kerr and Clay.
I mean, look what Steph did at the first half of this season when they knew Clay was coming back.
That's
You
fair,
know,
but
he's still-
he's established at that point. You know,
Oh, yeah, we all
it took a lot to make Steph Curry.
Not
But
really.
I don't know.
I mean, he could shoot from the freaking parking lot always. It's just Mark Jackson didn't unleash it like Steve Kerr did.
That's
And
fair.
when Steve Kerr unleashed it, then look what happened.
That's fair.
You know, so and then don't forget, never underestimate the importance of Draymond Green to that team. Draymond Green was the second most important player, even when
he
they had
deserves
KD.
to be up here too, in my opinion.
Eh.
Dame
Eh.
does not deserve to be up here.
So
I'll say that.
Dennis Rodman, I
Look,
believe.
can we go through and like see if we agree on people? Paul does not deserve to be here. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
he does.
He does not.
Yes, he does.
Sure,
You can't
Rick
just
Barry,
discredit
Elgin Baylor.
people from the 50s because you didn't really know who they were.
I can and I will. Dave Bing.
Dave Bing was the real deal too, man.
His nickname was just Duke.
Yeah.
Huh. The more you know, 7-time All-Star. See, here's the thing. All of these are like juiced though.
What?
Like all of it, because there was only so many teams, Gino.
Okay, but that
Back in the
doesn't
day.
change the fact. Like, okay, if I faced only the 04 Pistons every single game, one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, if there was only your
Yeah,
team
but
and then the
come
04
on.
Pistons. No,
So,
that's you're not giving me an
am I-
explanation. You're
am
just saying,
I-
come on.
But like Gino, there was only how many? Well, when did he play? In the 60s?
Let's see. The first round pick, 1966, and his last career year, go down, was 1978 or
Okay.
77, 78,
Let's pick give me a number in the 60s.
67.
Okay, how many teams were in the NBA in 19?
Well, don't forget about the merger because they had like the ABA and all that.
There was 12 teams, Conti. Come on.
That has
man.
nothing to do with the amount of points you score
no,
in a game.
obviously. Well, I think it actually does. But when you
How?
talk, well, because he's scoring against people who like, there's 12 teams. He doesn't have a whole lot of competition.
But he would but he would have even
Also,
less.
that's why I say his stats here are juiced.
Okay, but
Because
think
7-time
about it.
All-Star,
Okay,
there
think
were
about it.
2 teams.
Okay,
There were 12
so
teams.
if that's the
Come
case,
on.
think about it like fantasy football. The less teams, the more talent there is on teams, right?
No, Gino.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. No,
listen,
that is
yes.
not how that works
Yes.
at all.
Yes.
Not in like real life. Obviously, in because we're picking from a pool of 32 teams.
Okay,
with
but
great
if you're
players.
but if you're saying, because I know another argument that you make is the talent back then wasn't as good, right?
wasn't.
Okay, so if
Simply
that's the
wasn't.
case, if the talent wasn't as good and with only
You're
12
telling me
teams,
Dave Bing would
Hold on, listen
would
for a
give
second.
you buckets.
listen
like,
for a second.
now? No.
If the talent wasn't as good with 12 teams, how bad would the talent be if they had 30 teams?
I think. What do you? No, it would still
Do you know
be better. Well, the thing is, basketball wasn't big that back
That's
then.
what I'm.
the
So
whole
that's
point.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if what you're saying is true, that the talent in 12 teams wasn't that good, how bad would the talent be if they then added 18? 18 other teams to that pool?
But there wasn't that many basketball players. That's like because
That's what I'm saying. So the teams
we
would be
gotta-
good.
No, see, we have different ideologies of that. Because I don't think that because my answer isn't throw more teams, right? That's not what I'm saying. My thing is that talent gets better, and the NBA gets bigger. You have more teams, more talent. I'm not saying if you throw 30 teams back in the obviously, yeah, this guy would be the GOAT probably if there was 30 teams back then, and he was
that's what I'm saying.
and he was giving everyone buckets when they had like actual plumbers playing. But
Butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, but I think that the NBA has gotten better, and look, Dave Bing, I'm sure was a great basketball player back in the day, but we can't give every great player this top 75 list, in my opinion.
Okay, so then that's why Clay's not in there.
The pioneers deserve to be in there, for sure. Dave Bing is not a pioneer.
He's not? How do you know he's not?
He's not, because I don't know him. You know the
So
pioneers.
because you don't know him, he's not a pioneer.
You know the pioneers. Come on.
Dave
You
Bing,
know them.
Just because they're not talked about and not brought up doesn't mean they don't
Big
exist.
O, you know Wilts. You know Bill Russell.
George Mikan
was George
the pioneer.
He
of
was the
basketball.
pioneer.
The pioneer.
Yeah, you know guys like that. Like there's people who I didn't see play who I know deserve to be. Willis Reed, sure.
Absolutely. Willis
Absolutely. Maybe not Bill Sharman. There's people who that I didn't watch deserve to be Elgin Baylor, Rick Barry.
You don't think they deserve?
Okay. Those are guys who okay.
I'm
they
oh my god.
No,
well, Jesus
they deserve
Christ.
to be there. Dave Cowens, yes. Billy Cunningham, yes. I think he deserves to be there. You know, he actually invented, and I watched this because of the draft. He invented morning shoot around.
Yeah, dude. He's insane.
That's crazy.
He was a shooting forward, and back then that wasn't
Clyde.
coveted.
There's people, Walt Frazier, that I know deserve to be on here.
Yes.
Maybe
just
not Hal Greer.
Absolutely Hal Greer.
I don't know.
Hal Greer was a phenomenal shooting guard.
I'm still not. I need to look at Sam Jones real quick because I don't know how much Sam Jones deserves to be here either. His one thing is 10 champ, man.
Okay, but now let's look at the stats. 17 points a game. 17 points a game as a shooting guard, Will, when the game plan was pass it to the center and let him get it in the paint. That's impressive. That is beyond impressive.
That's
right?
fair.
So absolutely.
I don't know.
Invented the pick and pop.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I know you got a lot of respect, and I do have a lot of respect for these old guys, but I think that there's better players out there.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
Who do these better players model their games after?
Definitely not Hal Greer and Sam Jones.
That is absurdly false. That is
okay,
absurd.
I will say, okay.
Hal Greer.
What are you saying about Sam Jones? He invented the pick and pop.
Him with the pick and pop and everything, dude.
Sure.
They were amazing.
Sure.
Like him and
they invented it, but I mean, do you think that because that we were running the pick and pop in 4th grade, we were like, oh, shout out to Sam Jones? Like, no.
Well, no, because okay, but we're only influenced by
no one was ever. I guarantee you, no one past when Sam Jones retired was ever like, oh, let's run the old Sam Jones pick and pop. There's no way.
Well, who else did they have to look back to?
Well, they just became a part of basketball.
Because of who?
Okay, sure. I'll give you that. Yeah, because of Sam Jones. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So my point.
But I don't think he's one of the greatest ever. Just because I don't know. Just because Steph Curry. I mean, look, if Steph Curry sucked, but he revolutionized shooting a lot of threes, we wouldn't be like, oh. But he changed the game. Like he did, but he's good.
We as consumers of entertainment are only susceptible.
Now you're speaking my language.
Are only susceptible
I sound like I'm in my
to
media
what we
theory
see,
and research.
right?
Yeah.
We as consumers of entertainment are only susceptible to what we see. These guys like Hal Greer, these guys like Paul Arizin, these guys like Willis Reed, Dolph Skays, Bill Sharman, they're not broadcasted a lot because they didn't do what got clicks and views. Okay, that doesn't mean that they're not great. Just
How
because
did Wes Unseld make the
because okay. I'm like, Jesus, please don't do that.
I was looking for someone that good.
Yeah, but just because
I'll say a lot of these guys deserve it, but I think that can we? All right, one player we can agree that doesn't deserve to be in there is
Anthony Davis.
Dame, right? And AD.
I'm not bothered by it.
Can we find a middle ground on Dame?
We can take him or leave it. I'm neutral about Dame being there. I don't care.
How about AD?
I don't think AD should be on there.
We'll
we
said
said that 20 minutes ago.
we'll find the middle ground on that. 80 does not deserve
We
to
said
be on
that 20 minutes ago.
That's where we'll find the middle ground. He does not deserve to be on the list.
Listen, I'm telling you kids, do your damn research on these old players, because what I'm telling you right now, there would be no Kevin Durant, there would be no Kobe Bryant without Iceman George Gervin.
And look, you can pay your respect to those guys without saying that George Gervin, would play in the NBA today.
He would. He
Maybe George
would.
Gervin. He was a bucket.
Iceman George Gervin.
I don't know.
So
well,
how are you feeling? You feeling good?
I'm good. Look, as we wrap up this episode of the top 75 and the
collapse
Lakers,
of the
collapse. I mean, I think there's one guy who we both agree should be on this list. I mean, more than anyone. I mean, it's
on the tip of my tongue. Can you think of it?
Oh, you know who it is? It's John Rowe! Peace, ladies and gentlemen.